Good morning, students. I am Anjali from Computer Science Engineering AML Department, Assistant Professor in the Institute of Aeronautical Engineering College, Hyderabad. In previous session, we have seen that what is data pre-processing, some characteristics of quality of data. So now we will first to revise, then after that we will move forward. In last session, we have seen the what is data, then data pre-processing, data pre-processing, and then characteristics of quality data. Now first we will say about the data. Data is the raw facts. Data is the raw facts of which containing like image, video, audios, then text, and so many things. That means we can say that the data is an information which should be in the understandable format. Now we will see data pre-processing. Data, it is the process of transforming the data, transforming the data from various sources to understandable format, understandable, meaningful. This is about the data pre-processing. Now we will see the characteristics of quality data. Obviously, if there is a no quality of data, then you cannot do anything. So you have always quality of data. Then there are some characteristics which you have to follow always. Then first one, it should be there is a accuracy. That is, your data should be accurate and correct format. Then second one is the consistency. It should be follow consistent format. It should consist the same value from starting to end. Then timeline is there. Here you cannot waste your time. If you got a particular data, you have to start it directly processing. If you waste the data, then it can reduce the accuracy and consistency of your data. So you have to maintain the time at the time of processing your data. Then validity. Here, what is saying? What does suggesting the validity? It's suggesting that your data should be follow valid structure. Your data should be followed should be followed valid structure, valid format. If it is not if there is no valid format, then there should be error occur. That's why you have to follow particular format, particular structure. This is this is all about the characteristics of quality data. Now we will move forward. We will see the next 5 stages of data pre-processing. We already know that what is the data pre-processing? what is data pre-processing? It is the transferring of the data from various sources to understandable format in meaningful format. If it is not meaningful format, if it is not in the understandable format, then there should be some error occur. There should be occur some error. So you have to follow particular structure. You have to follow some format at the time of data pre-processing. In the data pre-processing here, there are 5 stages. We will go one by one. Here, first step is data cleaning. Second one is data integration. Third one is data reduction. Fourth one is data transformation. And fifth one is data discretization. Now, we will see about the data cleaning. In this lecture, we will see the data cleaning. Data cleaning. Obviously, when we are accessing the data from various sources, we can get the some garbage value, some noisy data. We can get the so many things from various sources. That means whatever we are collecting from various sources, that is uh, only data. That is only data. It's not information. It is only data. When we are combining the data from different sources, we are collecting the data from different sources. Automatically, there should be some duplicate values or some mislabeled value. So we have to avoid we have to avoid this duplicate value. We have to avoid this mislabeled value. We have to avoid this corrected value. That's why we are applying here data cleaning technique. What is meant by data cleaning? Actually, it is the process of fixing, removing incorrect, corrected data, incorrectly formatted data, some duplicate data, incomplete data within the dataset. That means if your dataset is containing the some duplicate value, incomplete data, some incorrect data, even incorrect format also, even it can contain some noisy data, it can contain some incorrect data. So all these things we have to remove from our dataset. If our dataset will contain these things, then automatically it will very difficult for us to find out something very special, to find out something very particular data. So this data cleaning process we have to follow all things. We have to follow everything. And this is the process. We can say in other words, this is the process of cleaning the data sets by accounting for missing values, removing outliers, correcting inconsistent data points, and smoothing the noisy data. That means we can say that if there is missing values available in our data set, then we have to uh, process on it. If there are missing values, we have to remove or something we have to do for it. If there is a noisy data, then we have to smooth on that data. We have to remove some unwanted data. If there are outliers, then we have to remove the outliers. If there is an inconsistency in your data, then that consistency we have to remove from our data. That means we can say that there is a motive. There is a motive of data cleaning is to offer the complete and accurate data. That to offer the complete and accurate data to the samples, to the accurate data to the data set which is used for various machine learning models, which is used for various machine learning models. Now we will see the purpose of data cleaning. First is to eliminate the error. First is to eliminate the error. Obviously, when we are collecting the data from various sources, there should be some error. There should be some incomplete data. Then we have to remove that error. First, we have to remove that error. Then, second one is to eliminate the redundancy. Second one is to eliminate the redundancy. If there is a incomplete data, if there is a incorrect data, then we have to remove that things. That means this is the eliminate the redundancy. Next one is to increase the data reliability. If you are processing on the data, then there should be the trustworthiness. Trustworthy. The data should be trustworthy. If there is no trustworthy in your data, then you cannot process. You cannot process for your next models or next purpose. That means it should be increase the data reliability. Then next one is to deliver a data with accuracy. Obviously, when you are doing something, when you are processing the data, after that you have to deliver data with the accuracy. That means your data should be correct. Your data should be correct. There should not be any error. It should be correct. That means we have to deliver the data with the correct format, with the accurate format. Then to ensure of the data consistency, to ensure of the data consistency, that means we have to first we have to check that is there is our data containing consistent format, is our data following the consistent format, consistent structure, consistent values. That means we have to check for the data consistency. That value should be seen from first to end. Then next one is to assure the completeness of data. You have to assure about the completeness of data before going to next step, before going for moving to forward step. First, you have to check whether your data is complete or not. If is if any table is containing the data and there is a something value, then you have to find out. You have to check whether table is containing complete data or not. If there is missing value, if there is something mismatching data, then you have to remove it and you have to make that data totally complete. So you have to assure the data complete. You have to assure the data completeness of complete. Next is to provide a feedback for data improvements. To provide the data, to provide the feedback for data improvements. That means, obviously, for improvement purpose, for implementation purpose, always we have to provide the some feedback. After giving the feedback, you can, it is possible for you to improve or to implement your data. Now we will move to next slide. There is a process of data cleaning. It is containing the 5 steps. It is containing the 5 steps. Which are the first one is removal of unwanted observation. Then second one is fixing the structural errors. Then managing unwanted outliers. Next, handling of us missing data. And the last one is validate and cure. First one is the removal of unwanted observation. Our main goal of data cleaning is To make sure that your data set is free of unwanted observation, you have to check first whether your data set is free of unwanted observation. Because when we are collecting the data from various sources, you are accessing data from various sources, it will your system, or you will get some errors, you will get some unwanted errors, you will get some unwanted observation. So you have to remove that unwanted observation from your data sets. That means what should be the unwanted observation? It should be duplicate observation or some irrelevant observation. If both values are available, that means if both things are available in your data set, then you cannot proceed. You will get some errors. First, that means the main goal of our data cleaning process is to remove the unwanted observation, to remove the duplicate data, to remove the irrelevant observation. Then, what duplicate observation? When it can be happen, duplicate observation, then it can happen at the time of collecting the data. It can happen collecting of data. Even data is said to be duplicate if it is repeated in the dataset, with it having more than one occurrence. This usually arises when dataset is created as a result of combining the data from two or more sources, and irrelevant observations are those don't actually fit the specific problem and that you are trying to solve, that you are trying to solve it. That means you have to fix the problem at the time of data cleaning, in the first step of removal of unwanted observation. Now we will see the second step. It is the fixing structural errors. Fixing structural error means when we are collecting the data, when we are combining data from various sources, sources should be anything. Sometimes it, we can say that internet. There are so many browsers. We can collect the data, different browsers. We are collecting the data, different sources. Then at the time, there should be some errors. There should be some missing values. So structural errors can measure when you can measure or transfer the data, and it can notice sometimes a strange conventions, strange naming convention. Sometimes there should be some strange types, there should be some incorrect capitalization. So if this type of errors are there, then obviously you have to remove it. That means if you have to write any values in your table, then you have to follow only this value. You cannot write not applicable. You cannot write not applicable. If you have to write this one, then you cannot write this on any. That means you have to follow only one. You have to follow only one structure. You cannot change the structure in the middle of the data. You cannot change the structure in the middle of the data, in the middle of the data set. That means if your data will contain the some strange naming convention, some types, and some incorrect capitalization, then there should be inconsistency. There should be inconsistency. And that inconsistencies can cause mislabeled categories and classes. Mislabeled categories and classes. That means, for example, if if you find any or not applicable, both appear in your table, then they should not be analyzed the same category. So you have to keep either any or not applicable. Now next, managing unwanted outliers. Outliers can cause the problems with the certain types of models. Actually, outlier doesn't create any problems for all the models. It will create the problem only for some types of models. So, for example, linear regression models are less robust for outliers than as compared to decision tree models. As compared to decision tree models. That means what is meant by outliers? Outliers is a type of, we can say, the type of error. But you cannot remove that error, you cannot remove the outlier whether you have a correct reason, whether you have valid reason. If you have a valid reason for removing that outliers, at that time you can remove it. Either you cannot remove it. See here I have written we should not remove the outliers until we have legitimate reason to remove them. And sometimes removing them improves the performance and sometimes not. That's why I'm saying if there are outliers, we, uh, it will affect your program, it will affect on your output sometime and it will not affect. Because if you want to remove the outliers, then there should be there's a particular reason for you. So one must have good reason to remove the outlier, such as suspicious measurements, which are the part of real data. We should be the part of real data. Now, next one is handling the missing data. Obviously, sometimes when we combine data from different sources, it can miss the data, it can lose the data, it can miss the value. So this we have to avoid this error we have to avoid. But if there is a missing data in your data set, then you cannot ignore it. You have to find out the solution for it. How you will find out? There are three options. First, you can drop the observations. Even you can input the missing values, or you can alter the way of data. There, these are the three ways. So you can follow. First option, you can drop observation. But if there are missing values, you can drop the observation. But what will happen? Your you- uh, your data can be lost. Your information can be lost, which is related to that values. So So before applying this method, you have to think and then you can remove it. It should not be affect on your output. It should not be affect on your data set. Then second one is you can input the missing values. You can keep the missing values, but it should be based on your observation. It should be related your observation. If there is, if you will not follow this thing, then there should be occur some error, there should be occur some incomplete data. That means there is a proper opportunity if you have you are putting them some missing values, you are putting them some missing values, then there should be opportunity. There are some chances to lose the integrity of the data. Then third option is you might alter the way the data is used to effectively navigate the null values. You can change the way of data where your null values can be navigated very effectively. That means if there are some missing values, then you have to follow any one method. It totally depends on you. Now, last one is validate and QA. Validate and QA. At the end of the data cleaning process, you should be able to answer this question as a part of basic validation. As a part of basic validation. This is the last step of data cleaning. First four steps was removal of errors. Right? Removal of unwanted errors. Then fixing unstructured. Then third, managing unwanted outliers. Fourth, handling missing data. And the last one is a validate and QA. When you come to the last step, then there should be taste your answer. There should be check your answer. You have to find out the some question answers of the question. That means you whatever you got the result, you have to check with this question. That means the first question should be: does the data make any sense? Whatever you have collected, whatever you have done till this process, whatever you removed error, what you removed outliers. So now where you have a data which is in the collected format, that data is following some sense, that data is making any sense. Then second question is that does the data follow appropriate rules for this for its field? You have to check your data field, your data is following appropriate rules, is following any structure, is following any format. You have to check, you have to find out. Then third one is does it prove or disprove your working theory or bring any insight to light? Your result is proving or disproving about the working theory. That means at the last you got the some result. You have to check your uh, result is matching with your data or not. That means you have to check that your result is bringing any insight to light. Then can you find the trends in the data to help you form your next theory? Your result is will you have to find out your result will be helpful for your next theory. Then if not, is that because of quality of issue? If your data is not if your data is not like that which is not usable for data, you didn't get the particular conclusion, you didn't get the particular result, then you have to find out why you got this type of result. Is you have to find out is because of this, because of only data quality issue. I have already told you there should be the only quality data. If there is no quality of data, then you will not get the particular result. You cannot reach up to your conclusion. That's why you have to find out all these questions answers. That means, is it making sense? Is it following any rules? Is it will be usable for your next theory. Is it bringing any insight to light, or whether there is any quality issue? You have to find out it. Then false conclusions. Sometimes, obviously, if there are some false conclusions, they because of incorrect or dirty data can inform poor business strategy and decision making. If there is a false conclusion, or if there is incorrect data, if there is dirty data, then automatically it will affect on your business strategy. It will affect on your decision making. Automatically it will affect. So your false conclusion can lead sometimes embarrassing moment in or reporting meeting when you realize your data does not stand up to scrutiny. If you have a false conclusion, if you have a wrong conclusion, if you have a wrong result, then obviously there should be the embarrassment moment for you in front of so many people in the meeting. That's why this situation you have to avoid. So you have to find out these answers. Everything you have to find out before moving to forward. Before submitting your conclusion, you have to find out all these things. You have to find out all these things. Before you get there, it is important to create culture of quality data in your organization. If you have to present that result in front of some people in the meeting, you have to report with this conclusion, then there should be the quality of data. There should be the quality of data. And to do this, you should document the tools you might use to create this culture and what data quality means to you. You have to. That means there should be. You should document the tools you might use some to create this culture and what quality data means to you. This is all about the steps of the data. What we have seen, just we will revise these things. First step, removal of unwanted observation. Second one is removing of unstructured errors. Third one is removing of outliers. Fourth one is handling the missing values. And fifth one is validate and QA. In first, we are removing the incorrect data, incomplete data, some duplicate data, and some mislabeled data. In second, we are removing the unstructured data. We are removing the unstructured data. Then third one is removing of outliers. We are in third step. We are removing the outliers if there are available the outliers. What is meant by outlier? It is like the error which we have we have some reason for removing it. Then handling missing values. At the time of missing values, uh, before handling the missing values, there you have to follow some three steps. If you want to drop the missing value, you can. You can um, keep the missing values. Even you can alter the way of data. And the last one is validate and QA. You have to find out the some answers of the questions. Which are the questions? That there are some these questions. That means you have to check whether your data is making the sense, your data is following some rules or not, your data is working for your theory or not, your data will be very useful for your next theory or not. Even you have to find out quality of is there any quality of issue or not. That means you have to follow these things. Now, second step second step is the data integration, which we will go we will going to discuss in the next session. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.